First story: delusional girlfriend ruined her relationship by doing a breakup prank on an already depressed OP, causing him to have a panic attack. So he ended their relationship then and there. Now she wants to reconcile after her own family called her in a hole for her actions. My ex and I have separated. It's weird to say because I'm still confused about everything, but it's as simple as the title says. A week ago, we were at my place when something just changed in her demeanor. She walked over and simply stated, "I'm leaving." I was confused and asked what she meant, and she said something along the lines of me knowing why. I'm confused because a minute ago we were just happy watching shows and bullshitting. Upon further pressing, she says that it just seems like the right thing or something. I get flustered and ask what is wrong, and she sits there silently, staring at her phone and only speaking to give me updates about when a rider will arrive. I just stop pressing, sit down, and just wait because I can't even explain this. I'm not going to yell, scream, or cry. I've just felt the same burning hot feeling and difficulty breathing in my chest when my dog died. This was it, and I have nothing to understand why it's happening all of a sudden. She puts down the phone and exclaims that she changed her mind. I asked what that was about, and she giggled almost playfully and said she just wanted to avoid a breakup. She gives me her answer, and I just end things there. She immediately regrets it, asking me to reconsider. The thing is, this happened before early in our relationship, and she explained she has an impulsive habit of things. I've only seen this once, and it was when she ghosted me after just starting to date her. Maybe, in her defense, she was on her period and was experiencing mood swings. But I sent her home and haven't spoken to her in a week until now to get my stuff. Am I going too far? She seemed distraught and hurt, and she genuinely meant not to have wanted that. I want her back so badly, but I don't know if I can trust her yet. It's making me sick, and I miss them so much. Am I wrong? Can there be something salvaged? I know she genuinely loves me, but I'm scared that I'm just being abused. Same post update. This blew up more than I expected, and I will be providing an update on a lot of things to answer questions and clarify what's been asked in the comments. It's still so fresh, and I'm experiencing a ton of emotions. I might make a separate post for a larger update to answer more questions. I spoke with her after picking up my things to figure out what was going on, and I'm still at a loss for how to interpret her actions. Relevant comments on her period. What kind of is that? That honestly was her excuse. She tried to justify the breakup over that, but you are absolutely right to think it's misogynistic because it is. I guess I just needed perspectives, but I thought it was ridiculous that she was blaming her period. But I'm not a woman with periods, so I just couldn't tell if it was in the realm of possibility. A kind Redditor shares their experience with a toxic ex and how abusive it was. Hey, I'm glad you came here to say this. The most insidious thing is that you grow to love these people. You want to truly help them out and grow as people. They become your family or are your family, and when it's a caregiver, as was my case with my mom when I grew up, it deconstructed the fabric of my entire reality and primed me for manipulation. I don't know what a kind gesture is. I don't know if people are legitimate or paying lip service, and if they are, I can't help but catastrophize my situation. Even now, I'm trying to see what I've done wrong here. In the heat of everything, I still feel guilty. I feel responsible for their behavior, for my own behavior, and for the way the world may perceive me. I see all these validating comments, and I still feel so wrong. I feel gross and sad, and I'm paralyzed. What was the punchline of this joke even supposed to be? I don't think there was a joke. The giggle seemed more of a nervous laugh, but it was just mind-boggling. I felt like I was watching a mask slip off. It was the same feeling of watching someone die and not being able to do anything about it. Just effing helpless. Edging. Denying ejaculation to increase its intensity. But edging the breakup was her own words. I'm not sure what you've been through, but your partner is not supposed to cause you pain. It's kind of why I posted here. I grew up with an abusive parent, and I literally just cut and went to NC with them. I still struggle to know when I'm being toyed with, so I just need perspective. It just feels so shattering to look at someone and see them look at you the way she did. I was an item on display to be toyed with, like she was getting really petty revenge. Somehow. Update 8 days later. Hey everyone. I guess this is how it is going to have to go. I haven't been sleeping, so I will try my best to make it make sense. I've come to present you with an update. This will be an attempt to explain and answer some questions from my last post, but mostly as a catharsis. Hopefully, this still fits into the vein of this sub, since I guess these are further consequences of that night. I ended up seeing her to pick up stuff and exchange items. She sent me a text to talk, asking if our time apart was enough to reflect on the relationship. She continued to explain that she deserved some type of closure and that if she doesn't hear from me, we should go our separate ways. We have a short talk on the phone, and I tell her my trust is completely broken. At the time, I was on the fence about breaking it off. I returned home to grab some of her clothes to exchange. I tried to call some friends since I was in tears and had a huge ache in my stomach, but no one was answering, so I just pushed through it and met up. The initial exchange was awkward, and she just thrusts a bag of my clothes toward me, grabs her stuff, and abruptly walks off. I called her and asked if she even wanted to talk at all, and she admitted it was kind of rude. We were both sad and teary-eyed, and I could tell she really was hurting. She sits in the passenger seat for a minute, and she asks if there is any chance we can be together again. At this point, we are both crying. She told me she talked to a friend and a sibling, and they both told her she deserved it. She has done the same thing to them. She points out all the time we've spent together, 6 really good months, and asks if it means nothing. It did mean everything to me. I sit there for a moment, crying, and just say that it can. Be fixed. I tell her that if I take her back, I'll be enabling that behavior. If we are ever to reconcile, this will have to happen. Otherwise, the relationship will continue on a toxic slope, doomed to end horribly. She awkwardly asks if I really think she would do it again and then admits she realizes she doesn't have much ground to stand on with that calm. I'm sad, but I still love her, and I'm devastated to have her leave my life. She truly didn't want to hurt me, but as I've explained earlier in a comment, I was primed by a parent for that kind of manipulation. If I were in a stronger place, I would have taken her back, but I have a dying uncle to care for, and it's been a few years since I was hospitalized for trying to depart from this plane of existence and self-harm. I still struggle with severe depression and insomnia. It was truly for my own sanity that I had to leave, because I am already in a place where I struggle to trust and interpret what people say and do. We told each other that we loved each other one last time, and that was it. I drove home and didn't really sleep. The week after, for the past week, I've been very depressed. I haven't slept a few nights, and a lot of them have to do with the emotions welling up from living with my mother. The night my girlfriend tried to edge a breakup, there was a point when she got in the car and told me she hated men. I get it. I hate men, but she is crying, and I am scared something happened to her. Nothing was wrong. She was upset about comments directed at her Instagram and how she looked, feeling like an object. The comment about hating men kept flashing back, and now I don't know if what she did had any correlation with her behavior. What hurt me the most was the memories it brought back, and I always remembered what my mom said to me, my brother, and my father. My mother would hit, scream, and terrorize my father. She went after him with a knife once before and then tried to slash his tires again. They would be constantly fighting and filling the house with anxiety. I would be too wired to sleep properly. They were 2 drug addicts who found each other and decided to have my brother and me. One day he left, and then she continued turning her anger at me and my brother. Her moods were always unpredictable. She got involved with a heroin addict that she met in Alcoholics Anonymous, who not only used the house as a place to 13-step my mother, but also to shoot up and buy or sell drugs. Her moods continued to be erratic. She eventually broke up with him, doing the same things as she did to my father, but with a whole new layer of insanity directed at us. I could only ever remember my mother as malicious and unpredictable. She would lock me out of the house on cold nights and would call the cops and make up lies to get them to bully me, harass me, or throw me out of the house that we rented, even though I was paying for it. They never could, but they did go on up during the talks, and she would do it where it would disrupt either my work or sleep schedule. Right now, it sounds so insane to simply say I put up with it. See you. That is absolutely true. I was so used to the abuse and gaslighting. I was so used to everything being so batched insane. I was just trying to do the right thing while being told I was doing everything wrong. I was bullied at home to go to school and get bullied there. I have issues interacting with people because of it. I'm maladaptive and antisocial. When I meet someone who is interested in me, I get attached, even if they treat me like SHD. It just feels like everyone else was given a different set of directions in life. I don't know when some is being kind, condescending, or wanting something from me. I take everything personally or not personally enough. I have no sense of achievement, and I consistently just feel like a ghost. All these feelings, thoughts, and memories from where I lived and where I grew up were flashing in front of my eyes, and I couldn't see anything around me. It was like I was stuck in a movie, and my heart was racing when my ex smiled at me, like my mother did when she knew she was effing with my head. My stomach fell out of my ARS. Recovering, I'm still trying to get a therapist and a psychiatrist. I always have been. I've been burned, and I can't seem to fix myself. I envy everyone and how they can so easily take therapy and medication while I cannot. I literally feel like a failure at recovering and getting my SHD together. I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was 5 and later with MDD when I was 12. I have been having small breakdowns and flashbacks throughout the week. I tried going to the club last night with friends, but I got too drunk and sad and was let out. I wasn't sloppy, disruptive, or anything, but they just cut me off. My friends came out looking for me and found me crying on the side of the street, and they called me an Uber. I felt so embarrassed for them to have me in their company. I wish they just ignored me and forgot about me because I had every intention of wandering off into the roads and disappearing forever. I have friends, but I don't feel it. I want their affection so badly, and I simply can't feel it. Not the love for my aunt or uncle, my brother, or them. I know they care, but I just can't feel it. When they try to show it to me, I feel angry and frustrated. When my friends came to call me an Uber, I was crying even harder because in my insane state, I could not even fathom that they actually gave an SHD about me. I was pissed they left the club and came looking for me. If anyone knows how I can deal with this or what steps I should start taking, I would appreciate it. I think something is going on in my head that is very atypical. My mind has been so foggy and racing, and I've been slurring my words from lack of sleep. I struggle with talking and performing at work. There are times when my ears ring, and it feels like they will pop, and it feels like my head is going to explode. I often find myself trying to hide from coworkers so somebody doesn't see me in pain or crying. I don't want to go to the hospital because I don't want to be away from my uncle so I can help care for him. I can't spend the money on it, and I don't necessarily believe it will make me better or safer. I know there is support, but I'm failing to find the strength to get it. It just seems so insurmountable. That's my update. I don't have anything rose-colored or shiny to share. If anyone could possibly point me toward resources or steps to deal with what I have, that would be great. I could use all the help I can get right now. Sincerely, R. Feel Granat. Relevant comments, commenter. If you're ever looking for support, ASAP in a moment of crisis, reach out to 2 and Floor. It's a website and a texting service. They connect you with a therapist you can text or call. It's completely anonymous and may help you until you find long-term care. Contact number 888-222-2228. Opie, thank you so much. This is a total game changer. Knowing these things exist. I've called the hotlines before and you end up getting bored with teenagers, which is always unproductive. I'd give you gold and absolve you of ads if I could. Are there similar programs that are not just restricted to New Jersey but also for adults? Second story. My husband has been cheating on me with his student for the past 3 years, and now he wants to reconcile. After I find out, my husband and I, both 35 years old, met in college. We fell in love and got married 8 years ago. I gave birth to our daughter in 2020. My husband is a professor at this medical school. He's a doctor himself. My friend Sarah also works at the same college, and she's in the same department as my husband. A few months ago, in December, Sarah took me out for lunch and told me that she suspected something was going on between my husband and this medical student, 25F. She claimed she'd seen both of them give yearning looks to each other. She said that she's known my husband for so long, and she'd never seen him talk to any other woman like this. He'd been so aloof around women all these years, but it's just different with this one girl. In that moment, I laughed at her face. I remember telling her that she's jumping to conclusions based on these supposed yearning looks. That's why I didn't tell you before, she said. I was confused too. It's not like he goes out of his way to talk to her, but whenever they do talk, It's like watching a slow-burn romance movie. She looks at him like he's Brad Pitt, and he looks at her the way he used to look at you. I remember the exact words because they stung internally. I was breaking down externally. I just smiled and told her that she was probably overthinking. That night, I casually mentioned this to my husband. I was laughing at the absurdity, and I expected him to join in and deny the wild possibility that he's in love with a student. But he didn't. Instead, he looked at me all teary-eyed and said, "I'm sorry. I can't get her out of my mind. I've tried, trust me. I should have told you sooner, but I thought I could save our relationship. I really wanted to." I asked him if he cheated on me. He said no. He said he didn't even talk to her, nor did they have any contact outside of college, and that he completely understood how morally depraved it is to try and pursue a relationship with a student. She wrote him a letter about a year ago confessing her love for him, and he told her that even though he was into her, nothing would come out of it. Apparently, that was when the yearning look started. I honestly don't remember how I reacted then. I think I just started packing and came to live with my parents and my daughter. I've been living with my parents since then. Half of me wanted him to come and beg for forgiveness, but he never did. He comes by sometimes to spend time with our daughter, but that's it. He never talks about the elephant in the room, nor do I bring it up. I keep checking that girl's social media. She's insanely beautiful, almost doll-like, and intelligent. I can't help but think that someone like him should be with someone like her. He's always been very good-looking, and I'm more of a plain Jane. She's the Meredith to his Derek. I don't know what to do. What do I even tell people? I don't even know who I am without him. Some part of me still wants him to come back. Edit. I've decided to talk to him. I know I've been avoiding this for months, but after reading all the responses, I feel it's time. I ripped that bandage out. I'm going over to our house. I'll update you on what happens. TLDR. Husband just admitted that he's in love with this young woman who is also his student. She loves him too. Relevant comments. MOSL. So he didn't actually cheat. He has a crush if I'm understanding that right. He hasn't betrayed you yet. Crushes sometimes happen, but that doesn't mean the relationship is over. Get therapy with him. OP. I mean, cheating for me isn't just physical. He's had crushes in the past, and I've had crushes in the past, but we've always been upfront and then laughed about it. This one feels like a betrayal because he was attracted to someone for more than a year. This someone gave him a freaking love letter. He told her that he's attracted to her, and not once did he mention it to me. That's a huge breach of trust for me, and I don't think I can look past it. Opie added more about her friend Sarah and what she observed. I know he said he entirely stopped interacting with her after the letter incident. It does seem absurd, but even my friend Sarah corroborated this. She said he never went out of his way to talk to her before, and then almost entirely stopped talking. Given that Sarah and him are in the same department 24/7, and that she noticed something as small as them giving each other looks, I'm sure she would have noticed anything out of the ordinary. I've had access to his phone and his passwords throughout, and he wasn't texting or calling her either. That's why this feels weird. LOL. Update for those who don't want to read the boring details. In short, I have decided to go ahead with the divorce. Long story. The day I made the post, I met up with Sarah for dinner. I thanked her for telling me about my husband and the student, and also for being such a good friend. I asked her about my husband. She said there was nothing unusual. He's been a bit withdrawn and aloof with everyone lately, but that's about it. Yesterday, I went over to my house unannounced. He was there alone in his office. I told him I wanted to talk. He said he'd explain everything. So, apparently, this woman has had a crush on him for 2 years. Her friend ships her with him. She would stare at him during her rotations and blush whenever he looked at her or talked to her. Back then, he didn't think much of it. Many girls have had crushes on him, and he always ignored them. About 1.5 years ago, they were in the same research group thing. I don't know how this works, but there were 6 people along with these two. Because of this, they had to spend some time together working, and it was then that he started noticing her. He went into detail about how he was impressed with her intelligence and her beauty. The moment he realized that he had a crush on her, he dropped out of the research thing. This was a year ago. A few weeks later, she gave him the letter confessing that she had feelings for him. The first thing he told her after reading it was, "You can get into trouble because of this." She didn't care. She wanted an answer. Is it all in my head? She had asked, to which he replied, it's not just in your head, but nothing can come out of it. I hope you understand. That was the last time they interacted, according to him. The yearning looks Sarah described were more of awkward eye contact than anything else. He told me that even though he is still attracted to her, he has no intention of pursuing any sort of relationship with her, regardless of whether we stay together or not. He said he's willing to change his job and go to therapy. I told him to give me some time to think about it. To sum up, 1. This has been going on for 3 years. Not once did he mention anything to me. 2. The student, and he spent a considerable amount of time last year working on the research. 3. He told her he liked her back. LW. 4. He's still very much attracted to her. And that's why I've decided to go ahead with a divorce. I don't think I can trust this man again, and a relationship without trust isn't something I am interested in. I've told my parents about it. They're not exactly on board, but they're still supportive. I've also contacted my lawyer about the same. It's going to be a long process. I believe that's it. I believe this is my last update. TLDR. He's still attracted to her. I won't ever trust him again. We're getting a divorce. Relevant comments. Chance. Reason 6617. I'm a crush. He is not in love. OP. That doesn't matter. He crossed a line he shouldn't have crossed by telling her he liked her. This is no tank. It literally. I can't believe these comments. Heck. Gushing about her beauty and intelligence. He told her the feeling was mutual. He could have easily denied it to her and then kept his distance. But he liked the attention. OP. I mean, to be fair to him, he wasn't exactly gushing about her. I kept asking, and he kept answering. The deal breaker for me was him telling her the feeling was mutual. All but luck. Allow. These dumb AR comments. You too hasty. It's a crush. Chill. Like STFU. The man literally said, I can't get her out of my head. If he had committed to his wife, he would have changed jobs actively, not waiting until now. He let it develop to the point where he couldn't take his mind off of her, and you were saying it was no big deal. You guys obviously never had a real relationship. OP. He said he didn't change his job earlier because, quote, I'm a doctor, and there are people counting on me. I couldn't just walk out on them one day. RN2 said he's willing to change his job if that's what it takes to make you stay. Thank you for watching the video. If you are interested in listening to these kinds of stories, we've got more in store for you. Simply subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and share it with your friends.